The distress beacon cut through the void like a scream in the darkness. Captain Zethara of the Corvani research vessel. Peaceful Dawn watched her tactical display with growing horror as the Vraoth war fleet surrounded her ship. Her crew of xenobiologists and cultural researchers had never expected to encounter the galaxy's most feared predators while studying the Outer Rim worlds. "Captain," her communications officer's voice trembled, "the Vraoth are demanding our surrender. They're talking about taking us to the fighting pits." Zethara's scales rippled with fear. Everyone in civilized space knew what happened to those taken by the Vraoth. The reptilian warriors used captured beings as entertainment, forcing them to fight increasingly deadly creatures until they died for the amusement of their bloodthirsty crowds. "Send out a general distress signal," she commanded. "All frequencies, all languages, someone has to hear us." The beacon launched into space, carrying their coordinates and a desperate plea for help to anyone within range. But Zethara knew the truth. No civilized species would dare face the Vraoth fleet. The Corvani were peaceful traders. The Althean collective were philosophers and artists. Even the mighty Zenthari military avoided direct confrontation with Vraoth war parties. As the enemy ships closed in, Zethara prepared her crew for the worst. 3 sectors away, aboard the human exploration vessel Defiant Spirit, Lieutenant Sarah Chen looked up from her sensor readings with a frown. "Captain Morrison, we're picking up a distress signal. Looks like Corvani research vessel, surrounded by Vraoth." Captain James Morrison's jaw tightened. He'd met Corvani traders before, gentle, scholarly people who wouldn't hurt a fly. The thought of them in Vraoth hands made his blood run cold. "How many Vraoth ships?" he asked. 15, maybe 20, heavy cruisers and fighters." Morrison's first officer, Commander Rodriguez, shook her head. "Sir, we're just 1 ship. Even with our upgrades, those odds are impossible." Morrison stared at the tactical display for a long moment. The smart play was obvious. Report the incident to Earth Command and let the diplomats handle it. By the time any official response could be organized, the Corvani would be long dead, but at least it would be someone else's responsibility. He thought about his daughter back on Earth, who kept a stuffed Corvani toy from the Cultural Exchange program. She'd named it Professor Squeaks and insisted it helped her with her homework. "Send a message to Earth Command," Morrison said quietly. "Emergency protocols. Tell them we need immediate backup at these coordinates." "Sir?" Chen looked confused. "We're 3 days from the nearest patrol." Morrison smiled grimly. "I'm not talking about the patrol. The message that went out from Earth Command was unlike anything the galaxy had ever heard. It wasn't transmitted on official diplomatic channels or military frequencies. Instead, it was broadcast on the networks used by miners, salvagers, mercenaries, and the kind of humans who made their living in the dark spaces between stars. Corvani research vessel under attack by Vraoth. 20 ships, Outer Rim coordinates attached. Any available ships respond immediately. The response was swift and overwhelming. Captain Elena Vasquez of the mining vessel Iron Harvest was the first to respond. Her crew of asteroid miners had been working the belt for 6 months, and they were tough as nails and spoiling for a fight. "We're 40 minutes out," she transmitted. "Mining charges and cutting lasers armed." Next came the salvage ship Lucky Strike, captained by Marcus Webb, a former Earth Defense Force Marine. "Got some military-grade surprises in our cargo hold," he reported. 25 minutes. More ships followed. The converted freighter Freedom's Edge with its crew of former pirates who'd gone legitimate. The research vessel Darwin's Hammer with a team of xenoarchaeologists who'd been dodging hostile aliens for years. Even the luxury yacht Golden Opportunity, whose billionaire owner had decided monster hunting sounded more interesting than another boring business meeting. Within an hour, 37 human ships were burning hard toward the coordinates, ranging. From military vessels to civilian craft, hastily armed with whatever their crews could improvise. The Vraoth war leader. Krextor watched with satisfaction as his warriors boarded the Corvani vessel. The researchers offered no resistance, merely cowering as his troops secured them. It was almost disappointing. War leader, his communications officer called out, "We're detecting multiple ships approaching, unknown configuration." Krextor's eyes narrowed. "How many?" 30, 40. The count keeps rising, war leader. They're not using standard formation or identification codes. Before Krextor could respond, his ship's main screen activated. A human face appeared, scarred, grinning, and absolutely terrifying in its casual confidence. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the mining ship Iron Harvest," the human said. "You've got something that doesn't belong to you, lizard boy. Let the Corvani go, and we might let you leave with your ships intact." Krextor roared with laughter. "You dare threaten the Vraoth? We are the apex predators of this galaxy. We bow to no one." The human's grin widened. "Apex predators? That's cute. You know what we call apex predators where I come from?" She paused, and her voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "Dinner." The space around the Vraoth fleet suddenly erupted in chaos. The human ships attacked from every angle, using tactics that defied all military logic. They rammed Vraoth vessels with mining ships reinforced for asteroid impacts. They deployed nets and cables designed for hauling space debris to tangle fighter craft. They used mining charges not as weapons, but as improvised torpedoes that could crack a cruiser's hull. But it wasn't just their weapons that proved devastating, it was their complete lack of fear. While civilized species fought with careful strategy and self-preservation, the humans threw themselves into battle with a savage joy that left the Vraoth reeling. Captain Morrison's defiant spirit led a group of smaller vessels in a coordinated strike against the Vraoth flagship. As his ship's guns tore through the enemy's shields, he opened a channel to war leader Krextor. "You picked the wrong species to mess with," Morrison said calmly. "Humans don't just fight to win. We fight to protect what we care about. And today, we care about those Corvani researchers." The battle was over in 20 minutes. Half the Vraoth fleet was destroyed, and the survivors fled in terror, leaving behind their reputation as the galaxy's most feared predators. Later, as the rescued Corvani researchers were transferred to safety, Captain Zethara approached, Morrison with tears in her large amber eyes. "Why?" she asked simply. "Why did you risk everything for us? We're not even the same species." Morrison thought about Professor Squeaks, about his daughter's innocent belief that all thinking beings deserved help when they were in trouble. He thought about the 37 human ships that had answered the call without hesitation, crewed by miners and salvagers and ordinary people who'd decided that sometimes being civilized meant being willing to be absolutely savage in defense of those who couldn't defend themselves. "Because," he said quietly, "that's what monsters do. We protect the innocent." As the human fleet dispersed back to their regular lives, word began to spread through the galaxy. Earth's children had answered, a cry for help, and the universe would never be quite the same.